Welcome to BootSpy. My name's William. Today I'm comparing the Blundstone 500 to the Blundstone 550. I'm going to compare these boots head to head to find out which of these two is right for you. Let's get into it. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. As I said, today we are comparing the Blundstone 500 to the 550. These boots are going head to head, and at the end of this, you're gonna know which of them is right for you. So first up, I'm just gonna give you the TLDW for Too Long Didn't Watch. If you just wanna get straight to the point of it, I really don't think there is a reason to buy the Blundstone 500 when the 550 exists. The 550, last time I checked, was like $10 or $20 more expensive. So it's not really that much more expensive, but it is a better boot. It's not a much better boot, but it is a better boot. Definitely $20 worth of betterness. And overall, I actually don't think the Blundstone 500 is that good of a boot at all. So if you want to find out exactly why I think all those things, then stick around through the whole video. I'll dive into greater detail. But if you just wanted to know literally whether you should get the 550 or the 500, then get the 550 and you can just save your time and do that now. And until next time, put your best boot forward. To cover the big differences between the 550 and the 500, right here I have the 550. This one I actually got from my wife, so that's why it's so tiny. But the 550, it's an upgraded version of the 500. It has a leather lining in here, although the leather lining isn't full. It stops right around the toe and then it turns into like a cotton fabric lining. It also has 10 millimeters of TPU on the outsole, compared to the 500 has 5 millimeters of TPU on the outsole. I'll talk a little bit more about why that's important. And the heel of the 550 has an extra high density foam pad. So basically when you combine all of these different factors, the 550 is more comfortable. So it has the leather lining, which is a little more comfortable. It has the extra high density foam on your heel, which should offer more shock absorption. And then it has a higher density of TPU on the outsole, double the amount. And that should also help with shock absorption, general comfort, and probably help a little bit with durability in the long run. There are also a few cosmetic differences, nothing really major, but one on the 550 right here, you have this little stitch that connects these two pieces of leather. And let's see if we can get that in focus. So there it is. On the 500, you do not have that stitch. So if that's a big difference for you, sure. But then also the heel, there's a double stitch again around the heel on the 550. There's a double stitch right here. It keeps zooming on my face. Let me get that. Oh yeah. So there's a double stitch right there. Whereas on the 500, it is just a lonely single stitch. So those are pretty minor differences. I don't see, I mean, that stitch doesn't really do anything. It's supposed to keep the heel counter in there. But I think even if that stitch completely came off, the heel counter would pretty much just stay where it was due to gravity. But it's a minor difference. Figure I'd let you know there's not really too many differences between these two boots. That's why I'm honestly a little bit confused why Blundstone even made a separate boot, because it's really the same boot. There's just a few minor differences, and then they slapped on an extra 5 in the middle, called it a new boot, but it's pretty much the same. Looking at the leather differences between the 500 and the 550, these are both chrome tanned aniline genuine leathers. The fact that it uses genuine leather is a little bit surprising to me, because these boots are right around the $200 range. No matter which one you did, the 500, 550, they're both around the $200 range. And there are plenty of boots that you can find out there for $200 or even less that use full grain leathers. So that is pretty surprising to me that that's generally thought of as a lower quality leather, something you'd only find on $100 shoes and boots. So the fact that Blundstone is charging $200 and they're only using genuine leather and chrome tan leather is a little bit surprising. But between the two boots right here, there's not too many differences in the leather, other than the 550 has the leather dyed all the way through, and the 500 has the leather only dyed on the outside. So that doesn't make a difference at first. So when you're looking at these, right, they look pretty similar. They look about the same. But as you start to scuff the boots, as you start to scratch them, the scratches are going to show up a lot more on the 500 because the underlying leather isn't dyed. So it's more natural colored, it's a lighter tan. And so as you scuff it, the scuffs are gonna show through a little bit more. That might not make a difference to you. You might like the rugged look, so that wouldn't be an issue. But again, I think to me that's another case for the 550 because the leather is dyed all the way through. Even when you scuff it, it will appear lighter. It's not gonna, it doesn't solve that problem of scuffing your boots. But when you do, it won't be as noticeable. It won't be so pronounced. So that would be another reason to go with the 550 over the 500. Comparing the soles together, as I mentioned, there is double the amount of TPU in the 550. That just helps with shock absorption, makes it a little more comfortable, a little more durable. Overall, the soles, both of these are cemented sole constructions, so they are not super great with weather in wet conditions or mud. There's a good chance that the upper will come separated from the sole because it is only attached there through cement, through glue. There's no stitch in there. Again, this is kind of one of those surprising things about Blundstones, why they're so popular. There are a lot of boots out there for $200 or less that have a Goodyear welt on there or a Blake stitch, something that is way more weather resistant, way more reliable because you actually have a stitch, you actually have thread material that connects the upper to the sole, whereas this is just straight up glued on. And there's a lot of, there's a chance if there's any sort of defect, that sole can come separated and water can leak in there like nothing. So that's true on both of these boots. But comparing these boots just together, the 550 wins out because it has double the amount of TPU, which is a higher quality sort of rubber material, and that is just better overall. As for fit and sizing for Blundstones, this could be a pretty tricky issue because they're an Australian company, so their sizing is the same as UK's, which is different than the US's and the Europes and Japan and all that stuff. It can be confusing. So if you want a really, really easy and full complete sizing guide to Blundstones, I have a link in the description below that goes to bootspy.com, the Blundstone sizing guide. I also have a calculator there. You just type in what size you are in men's or women's shoes and it'll pop out your Blundstone size, and that should make shopping and getting the right size for your Blundstones super easy. So to get back to the question of whether you should get the Blundstone 500s or the 550s, to me, this is a pretty easy choice. I would go with the 550s. It's about $20 extra, at least last time I checked, it was about $20 extra, but you get a few added benefits like a leather lining, you get the extra TPU on the outsole, you get the fully dyed leather so the scuffs don't pop up so much, and then you get a little more high density foam in the heel. So overall, it's just a little bit more comfortable. One thing that is cool about all Blundstones is that you can remove the insole and add your own arch support if you want to. One other thing, I don't know, I haven't mentioned this yet, is the 550 does have a steel shank, so it has a little more arch support in there compared to the 500. So overall, for $20, I think you're getting more benefit. You're getting extra features on the 550. That just makes it an overall better boot. But on the whole, if you're gonna spend around $200 on a boot, I would not choose a Blundstone because they only use cemented sole construction. The leather is not good quality compared to what else you can get for $200. I would check out brands like Thursday Boots, Beckett Simonon, even Grant Stone. Grant Stone's like double the price, but the quality is like the best. There's about the best quality you can get. So there's some other brands that I really, really like out there that are doing much better with the quality of their boots at the same price or even lower. And so I'll put links to those brands down below. Those are the three I mentioned. Those are my three favorite brands of boots. So you can check those out. But if you are bent on getting a pair of Blundstones, because they are the most popular boot I've ever seen. I walked into a coffee shop, there's like 8 people wearing them. It was crazy. So if you're bent on getting a pair of Blundstones, then definitely get the 550 over the 500. It is a better value for your money. And if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, please hit that subscribe button down below. Give me a thumbs up. And until next time, put your best boot forward.